Let's have it out. At 9:30 is former Democratic Alliance leader Tony Leone joins me now for a preview of the show. It's good to have you here before you sit over there, and I'm just wondering how you're feeling about it.
I want to get a few tips from you, Jane. You know, the amateur asks the pro.
Yeah,
so
right.
Great to see you again.
Are you excited about it?
Yes, well, you've got a very good team here, and I've been put through my paces, and hopefully it'll go well.
Drills.
Absolutely. So I'll do my best.
What do you
but I was
think
a politician for many years, so I can
Yeah,
bust
you know
my
how to
way
spin
through,
stuff,
through
anything.
certain situations.
What is the aim of the show tonight? What are you hoping to get from it?
Well, Let's Have It Out has two viewpoints on a contentious topic, and I can't think of any more contentious or current topics than one I select for tonight, which is the economic impact or consequence of expropriation without compensation. Because obviously there's been an enormous amount of exposure during the parliamentary committee hearings, traveling around the country about the historical necessity of changing property relations. There's been a great deal of emotion. There's a lot about race. But what's forgotten is the number one issue, which is what's going to happen economically. And this comes, on the back of, despite the gifts from China you were just discussing with their T's and C's, of some very, very bad economic news. Last week, the Reserve Bank governor put our growth rate down 30% on what he'd previously forecast. So if we carry on at this low growth, high unemployment rate, it's going to take 100 years for South Africa to double the per capita GDP. So is taking away property rights the way to go? Because every country that has been tried has proven to be a disaster. And every country where they've actually intensified property rights, you've had much greater economic growth and therefore more money to spread about to the people in need and to stabilize the employment or raise it, which has been so missing in the last 24 years here.
And we're going to have to leave it there. Tony
Thanks
Leone,
very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Jane.
And best of luck.
Thank you. I'll need it.
Well, wheelchair tennis is gaining traction around the world. South Africa is considered one of the success stories in introducing the sport, but a lack of funding has left many of our paraplegic sports stars fending for themselves. Our own wheelchair tennis champion, Kgothatso Montjane, joins us now. Now, congratulations on your incredible performance at Wimbledon.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
How did you feel when you were going through that? I mean, did you expect that you would get as far as you did?
I mean, I always knew that I will go somewhere, but, credit to where I started, credit to Wheelchair Tennis South Africa for being there for me, for introducing me to the sport, and, for making sure that I understand the sport better. Looking at, I just started at the age of 19, I didn't really know much about the sport. But,
what made you start?
I was a very active learner at school. I played wheelchair basketball, table tennis, and that's how I was recruited into wheelchair tennis. Because, I used to represent my school well during the national championships in basketball and table tennis. And they thought when this opportunity came, when wheelchair tennis was introduced in the country, that you will be the one going to represent us. So that's how it all started when I was doing matric.
And how do you train for it?
To be honest, I didn't know much about the sport. I just picked up the racket when other kids were playing at the camp. When wheelchair tennis hosted a camp by then in 2005, I just picked up the racket, and when they said hit the ball to the sun, that's how it all started, So
you were natural.
I would like to say I was natural because, even my style of play is quite different.
Okay, what are the rules? How does it work?
Wheelchair tennis, the rules are same as everybody. The only difference is the 2 bounce rule, whereby in wheelchair tennis you are allowed the second bounce, but the first bounce needs to land in a normal court. It needs to, the normal court is what able-bodied play on, that first bounce, but second bounce can land anywhere around the court. That's the only different rule between able-bodied tennis and wheelchair tennis.
Okay, and I saw pictures of you getting into the wheelchair and strapping yourself in. It's quite a process, isn't it? Talk us through that process and also the wheels.
Yeah, there's another rule that you need to be actually seated in the chair because you're not allowed to lift your palm because otherwise that's cheating. So you really need to be strapped in because you're going to be moving fast and you want to be safe and secure so that you don't fall out of the chair. So, and you see the wheels are way too different. The angle is, the camber angle is
Does that help you turn?
Yeah, it's very important because in wheelchair tennis, we move in circles. We don't have like backwards and forward movement. So that position of the wheels, it helps you with that. And also it has a peg wheel, which it helps you on the serve, whereby you get more balance instead of the wheelchair falling over. But the anti-tip, it helps you to balance on that.
Oh, so yeah, as you say, have amazing balance. Let's talk a little bit about the funding problem linked to the sport and possibly not just to this sport. What do you think is going on there? Why don't you get what you should be getting?
I mean, to be honest, I really don't know. Like, why can't I get personal sponsors? And I mean, now it become transparent because 18 months ago, Wheelchair Tennis South Africa as a federation, they lost their huge sponsorship, which it has been our funding as elite players. We depended on that funding for quite a long time until 18 months ago when they lost that. Then it became transparent to us as athletes because we didn't have any financial sponsors or personal sponsorships. So it becomes a big deal when wheelchair tennis is not able to provide for us because of that. And that's why. But why can't we attract sponsors? I'm not quite sure on that because we compete on a global level. We compete in Grand Slam. Those are big tournaments, you know. And
yeah, you think it would be easy, right?
Yeah, but it's not as easy as you think.
Okay, it might change. The Gauteng Sports Department is promising to assist you. Let's have a listen to what was said.
There'll be more allocations for such rare sports. We call it classic sports because it's not the normal netball and football that you'll find, but it is more. It needs more investment. So we're definitely sure that speaking to the minister and minister engaging in treasury, there might be something that government does, especially making sure that we invest more on this type of sport.
What do you think that means for you?
I mean, that's brilliant. Wheelchair tennis has like 500 athletes. So you can imagine, if I'm struggling as a top player, what about the upcoming kids? So they need that to get where I am. So without funding, you can just imagine how the future looks like at the moment. But if a help like that is coming up, I mean, it's a huge thing for our upcoming athletes. I'm sure wheelchair tennis is not going to help them to get where I am, but it's a sport for people with disabilities. It improves their lives. So you can imagine what will they do to the other kids. And obviously, it helps us as elite players to keep carrying the flag and representing the country.
And you are known for your emotions, aren't you? You get quite emotional. Does it help you focus? I
mean, I guess that's what people doesn't know about me. I'm a very softy. I'm a very emotional person, you know. But obviously, I get emotional when things are so close to my heart, you know. I guess that's how I appreciate them. And yeah, I'm not good in expressing my emotion, but when it's close to my heart like that, it just really touches me, and I just can't hold it, you know. I just have to let it be.
Okay. Should we change tack there? How do you see the sport growing if the investment starts coming in? Where would you like to see yourself? I mean, what's your ambition here?
I mean, obviously, I'm gunning for the top spot, you know. Me being able to, you know, slide myself into the top 8 and play in Grand Slams, you can imagine if I have all the resources or all the necessary funding to build up to that, how can that change my game? It will be a lot. And how can that help the grassroots to get them where I am? It's going to help a lot, you know, but yeah, I mean, we can only just wait and see what happens.
Well, best of luck. Really, you are a superstar, and we are all watching your progress, Kgothatso. Thank you very much. That was Kgothatso Montjane, South African wheelchair tennis player, and that's our show tonight. Let's Have It Out is next. Join me again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Thank you for watching.